Hello, everybody. Um, Everything that surrounds you is architecture. You're always going to be guided towards your future through these spaces that you evolve in offices, your residences, every single place is going to dictate who you are and it's going to say specifically the situation that you're living in, your class, how much money you have, and that is also reflecting on what you get, what illnesses you get, how you feel in your mental health, how you manage everything that you have going on in your life is dictated by architecture. And I have found myself really dealing with this issue and this topic a lot because I am an architect myself, and sometimes it feels like I didn't choose this career, but I did. I did choose this profession and I love it. And I absolutely adore the concept of being an architect because in reality, you pretty much don't have a choice. It is really hard to design. It is really hard for you to design a building, and by the time that you come to this position in life, you're going to be very, very changed by the system. So, right now, I am an assistant architect. I help another architect build houses. So, I do every single planning, scheduling, and everything that you need to have in order to build something. But for it to be built, it has to be designed, and I don't design that. So let's make that clear. I am not in a position that I design right now, but I can tell how the designs are made. You know, they're completely made up and they are done by the architects, which is something that I adore, that I respect, and it's safe to say that there are not many architects that do that in a ethical way. Like when you involve yourself in a very big company or a construction industry, you don't take choices by yourself and you will have to probably think about the budget and see how you can get the most out of it, which is the main problem. It's the main issue. Of course, I'm sorry for the voice. I'm a little sick. Um, of course, in the job that I'm working at right now, it's like I work with high, um, high budget houses that are singular residences, like houses, basically. So they are isolated. They can have ventilation. Do you say ventilation? I guess so. They have air free, like to go wherever, and you can choose where the sunlight hits the bedrooms and the living rooms. You can eventually plan the whole house. But when you are making buildings, it's not a choice to make from the architect unless the architect is in charge of absolutely everything, which is very hard when you're building a building because it is huge, especially if it's apartments. Like, you're not the only one making choices. And I've seen that a lot. And it is really, really interesting to see how your principles as an architect get completely changed, shifted, and restricted because of a budget and how much people are willing to spend into this basically business. And for me, it is really interesting to see how this is treated as a business, but it has to be like somewhere livable for some people. that are on a budget that probably have like a minimum wage and they are trying to afford somewhere to live in that is for themselves. So they choose an apartment, but the apartment was made with the most basic furniture available and the most basic materials and the most cheap everything, you know? That is just the reality of everything. That is not something that I'm choosing. And if you want like better quality, it means it's like more expensive, which is for me nonsense. If I were someone like that could regulate that, I would make everything cost the same because you're basically making um, more quality, more expensive, and less affordable to people that really need quality because they need to have things last longer in order to not spend more into things that are made to last longer. And I know that that is the whole point of consumerism and capitalism, but if you see it from a very, very human side, it's fucked up because the whole system is created for you to just not think about yourself, to be always focused on getting more money because you're not going to be able to afford your next meal or where you're going to stay or to fix the problems of of the home that you created because it's like water leaking everywhere. Like that is a problem, yes, but at the same time, it's not a the fault of an architect, even though if you can make it like it could be the fault of an architect, but that would mean an architect also choosing not to make a project and not having a job, you know? And that is the worst part of all. Like here in this economy in this city, because I'm talking about my reality, um, you have to accept any job that you can because otherwise you wouldn't get any job. Like there is the slight, very big difference between not having a job, being on the streets, not eating, or choosing a job that we all know it's not good. It's very tiring, but it's going to give you at least something to eat. At least something. Like it's not a good thing either. So it's bad or very like it's like bad or very bad. You choose it. So I believe that everything is being corrupted and what I loved the most about this whole meaning and sensical like way of seeing from the movie The Backrooms, that's what I also wanted to talk about, is that it portrays these liminal spaces where I've always thought of as something very interesting to navigate through because it's the most just functional way of seeing architecture that gets pretty much unappreciative of the arts but more appreciative of the function itself because you see these liminal spaces and you already know what they are but they are like empty, it's like a memory as the movie talks about these places as being very just a wacky memory of what you have in your head and the more you remember the least accurate it is. So I believe that this whole metaphor comes back to the same place, which is we are living in the back rooms. We are basically living in the back rooms because we are creating these spaces because it's cheap, because it's wacky, it doesn't like take much to do, it's cheap. It's pretty much like basic. It's just basic architecture. It's not even architecture at this point. It's just buildings. It's just like copy paste. Some of them are even pre-built, pre-designed, and you just print it. It's like printed buildings. So I believe that this movie connects the reality of livable places very well, because these livable places are unlivable, but people find comfort in them because it's all they have. You know, they can't escape from this. They can't. You can't escape from this. You can't escape from this horrible dream that we're living. We're all in a very like crazy state right now in the world and how things are moving forward. Like they are not moving forward. They're just breaking into small little dust that it's made like it's sick. It's sickening to think about the current state of the world and the way that we see architecture. And architecture is the only thing that surrounds us. It's basically the only thing that we can say guides our life into the good or into the better or for the worst. Is that the way you say it? I don't know. But yes, and it feels like it's for the worst for the middle and low class, as it always has been. I know. I don't know why. I feel a very strong bond to this brutalistic architecture, like from Russia and everything. I love it. I love it, and I love liminal places, and I think that you can make art out of it because those are functional spaces that you can fill up with memories, as the backrooms hold a plot, which is that um, it feels like it's just a memory, and those places work if you design for the whole functionality and you let them be livable. You know, you can make a place livable by placing the windows in the right place, um, building with the best materials possible to not make the people that live in there a hell, or humidity, or all of this like when yeah humidity, I don't remember the word for that, but you can get sick from, you can literally die from a rotting building, or like still water getting in some places. I don't know. All of this can be fixed if you make functional architecture. And I know that I chose this career, especially me, because my dad pushed me forward to doing this, and he was like, you should do this, like this is the way that you can be creative without studying like art or something, because that will not let you live. And I was like, okay, he's not going to give me food. He's not going to give me food on the table if I study arts. But I wanted to be an artist so bad, and I am. I am. You can literally tell by the painting that I have here. But I chose to study architecture and I fell in love with it halfway through, but I didn't fall in love with it because of the whole thing, you know, designing and everything. I fell in love with it because you can see so many aspects of humanity represented in our architecture, and you can literally shape the future with that, and you can reassemble the mindset of people in livable art. So if you see buildings that are being made right now, it's literally, and again, I'm speaking about my reality here in Ecuador. Um, those are buildings depending on the people that it's targeting. If it's for rich people, it's probably going to be like $300,000 a flat for one bed. One, let me say, a one bed apartment, one bedroom. I'm sorry. Um, it's going to have a beautiful view of the city, and of course, it's going to prioritize the view of the city and the amount of I don't know, windows that it has. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why people lately um have this trend of making everything of glass. Like why? You don't need that many cold in the night, and you don't need that many light in the day. Like I understand that it is beautiful glass because it's like the transition between the interior and the exterior, and you have this whole glass that limitates what it's inside and what is like the outside, and it is also like transparent. So I understand, but it could be used more strategically and smart enough, you know? But it's cheap, I guess. But it's cheap and it's trendy, you know? We all like glass, I guess. Um, I would have loved to made the windows in my house, but the way I feel like the architect that made my house was a very good architect, but he didn't quite study the moving of the sun, because sometimes it hits me in the morning but it doesn't hit me in the afternoon, and in the afternoon it's very cold, so I'm freezing in my room. My room is close to the river, so all of this plays a part, but do not I do not cry about it because I have a huge room right now. This has been my room since I am like 11 years old, and it's huge. And I can feel fit here my workshop table, which my thing is on. I can paint here. I have a painted wall by myself. I have a couch. I have a huge bed. I have a closet and I have a bathroom. I know that this is privilege, but I'm talking about the apartment buildings, apartment complexes. So this little tiny little lofts, I don't know how they call them. They don't call them lofts. They call them suites. Yeah, are $300,000. By the way, it's like three times that my whole house costs. And this is more beautiful because you don't have the noise of the city. You have a beautiful view of the woods, everything. And what I'm trying to say with this is that I can even fathom a normal person that has a minimum wage here in my city, $400 a month, to afford one of those. Okay? So many people can't afford an apartment. They have to pay for a small apartment, like rent small, tiny apartment. And that is, for me, unthinkable because these are working people. And I don't think many people realize how working class actually sustains the economy of the country. And you should make laws to protect them, like at all costs, because they are making everything work, you know? They're making everything work. And the least that you can do is make like laws for the buildings to be livable, but they are unlivable. Like they're literally unlivable. When I was helping my grandma, she's not my grandma, my aunt. When I was helping my aunt, the aunt that I love, adore, cherish, and completely live for, um, she wanted to rent an apartment because she got mad. I'm not going to say what happened, but she wanted to rent an apartment. And we were searching for apartments, and she herself told me like, this is unacceptable. This is a lack of empathy for people. Like there's literally people renting places that are supposed to be for shops as apartments. And you start thinking about it, and it's like this room that you say is a room, first of all, has a window to the living room, and second of all, has no other window. So if you wake up at 7 a.m., you wouldn't even notice that it's 7 a.m. because it's black. Pitch black at 7 a.m., pitch black at 12 p.m., pitch black the whole day long. So that is depressing, and that also reflects the mindset of a person. That is dictating how the person that is going to live there is going to feel. And if you feel trapped inside your own mind, imagine living in this place and feeling trapped in your own house too. Not only mentally but physically. And I love how this whole narrative and metaphor played a part in this movie of the backrooms. I've already been in love, as I said, because it's pretty much the architecture that I love. I don't know, things of taste, I guess. But I love brutalism. I feel like it's I don't know, the love of my life in architecture. So I absolutely adored the eeriness and the whole, like, you can taste almost how everything just is blank. And what makes these places exceptional is the people that are going around them. You know, they are nothing without people. They are just nothing. They're nothing without people and things and furniture and memories and art. I love the part where the person like painted the whole wall, and it's like that is the only thing of worth in that place. And if you think about this whole thing, like it can drive you crazy. Drives you? It can drive you crazy. Architecture can drive you crazy, and you can drive yourself crazy in architecture. It, it is probably like the best movie that I've seen lately. One of the best movies that I've seen lately. And I loved the whole metaphor. I loved how he tried to normalize what was going on because he felt comfortable in the mess that he already created. And it is a memory, yes. But at the same time, when you make it real, it's like, oh my god, this is a monster. Exactly of what architecture is being lately. And I can give you like a whole rant about how I can make you like realize this, and it's like go outside, just go outside. The more that you are in these places, the more depressed that you're going to get. So try to walk to new places and do your things. If you don't feel comfortable at your house and you can't afford like having a rent of a beautiful loft or a suite, as I said, I have this whole Pinterest like apartment, which is unlivable also. Like right now we're working with three houses in my company, in the company that I'm working at, and I can tell that two, well, no, one of those three houses is unlivable. Those walls are huge. Those spaces are huge. Like, you basically just built a garage. No, even worse, a restaurant in your house. For what? Like, it's unbelievable. So, I think that the more you are in touch with reality, as an architect, of course, the more you are in touch with reality, the more you talk to people, the more you ask what people need, the more accurate place and more livable you are going to make these places, and it's going to be a success. Like there is no architecture without people, and I think that the government, the system, the whole companies, these companies that rule the world basically, and the government doesn't even take part in this, big companies and billionaires have have little to no touch with the reality. And that is the main problem. That is the main issue. Because they're building places that are unlivable, as I said. So if you live in one of these places and you feel like that, like really depressing and bad, try to be in other places as much as possible. Try to go to the park and do your stuff. Try to read outside. Try to, I don't know, try to be out of it because you're going to get sick. You are going to get sick. Like, I've gotten sick in this place many times because of the humidity that there is here, because of the lack of sun, and I have absolutely nothing to actually like talk about because my room is beautiful, but there are a few issues, and even those few issues have gotten me sick. I couldn't even imagine living in one of these apartments. So be aware of that. Know what's the real problem. Sometimes it's not even the architects, but the big companies. It's always the big companies. It's always the big companies, and I hate that. I completely hate the way that that goes. And I wanted to talk about another thing, and I just forgot. Oh, about being personal. I just remembered. Um, I have privated some videos of mine, more than half. Well, no, probably a half of my videos. I privated because I don't feel connected to the person that overshares anymore. Even though I'm probably going to do it a little bit more, but I will be checking that because I don't know why. There is something in oversharing that makes me feel like I am letting out, even though it's a version of me that stays in that time and space. It feels like people can, I don't know, can make up a version of me that I'm not. So, yeah, I'm going to overshare less and talk more about interesting things. And also, the places, and this is what I love about architecture, the places that you choose to overshare at also says a statement, states a statement for the people that are watching or the people that is listening. And I love that. There's a time and place for absolutely everything. And that is the first time that I've said that thing, and I've heard that plenty of times, but that is just the way it is. So oversharing in your room probably is not a good idea. And I think I'm going to learn about that. We're going to work on this together though. So let me know what you want me to talk about. I loved the movie, and I also loved how it made me feel about our inner world, but also our built world, the places that we're basically walking every day and waking up every day and feeling every day, and that holds a lot of power and energy. You want it or not, you don't live in a house. Well, I'm not sure who you are. There are plenty of houses here in my city, in my country, that are made of clay, and those are very good houses for energy because they can soak all of your energy and make you feel at peace. But concrete, bricks, isolates. So you're basically trapped with your energy all the time. So get in touch with Earth. Get in touch with nature. Oh, I wish we could all make clay houses, to be honest. It's the good old way of making houses and works every time, but um this whole modern way of seeing things, I think it's good, but we should make like safe ways more creative, safe, how do you say it? Safe techniques more creative, more spiritually. Like, I don't know if there is a shift in absolutely everything. Well, there has been a shift in everything. Like how we all do not no longer date like we used to date. We used to date. I have never used to date, but like people used to date. We don't do that anymore. We don't want to have children or everything. So why not also changing the way that we see our environments? Why don't we change to make everything a little bit more sustainable? Like, and I always think about that. We can make a change because we're more. We are more. We are winning by quantity. I know we don't have the money. I know we don't have the power, but we can take that power away because we're more. So let's get reunited and actually do something for our cause. Because at the end of the day, yes, I'm talking about architecture like it's an isolated thing, but it's not. It's not. It's something pretty much connected to absolutely every single thing. It's connected to economy, it's connected to individualism, it's connected to class, to control, to power, it's connected to lifestyle, to how you get sick. It's connected to the inequality, to accessibility, to everything. It's connected to everything. So architecture, I think it's the main focus that we should focus on because it actually changes everything. It changes everything. So if we keep making these weird buildings that are like blocks, I know they are beautiful. I know they have this airy and very interesting way of seeing things and like what I love, but it's not thinking about the people. Like it's like making that same block, it's making your brain also a block. So we're all like normal SpongeBob or something like that. And that is nonsense. And that is not even accurate to what we are. We're all different. We all have different ways of thinking. And we should choose the way that we want to evolve, not feeling obligated to pay the rent of a very, very bad designed apartment that it doesn't even let us live but makes us sick. So, yeah, that's all that I wanted to share. Love you so much. See you in the next video.